what was really interesting was that Gareth seemed to have a very distinct vision for this film. It seems that he wanted to tell a story that sat very proudly and comfortably within the Star Wars universe, but also visually and in terms of its tone and its feel was quite distinct. And he kept talking about kind of war movies and the kind of slightly rugged, raw, almost handheld feeling that you get with some of those films. So that seemed to me again to be a really fresh, exciting combination. You get someone like Gareth who's come from both having directed films with a very, that DIY aesthetic with his first film, and then also something like Godzilla, this kind of massive, beast, and kind of to combine those two aesthetics to kind of take the resources and the world and the mythology of Star Wars, which is so rich, and marry that with that almost kind of scrappy DIY aesthetic, that kind of real rugged war movie feel. That seemed to me to be really, really brave and a really cool idea. The way Gareth described Bodhi to me was as the guy in a war movie that isn't supposed to be in a war movie. He's kind of found himself in this situation, and he said, "Look, there's a lot of people in this kind of team, in the Rogue One team, that are warriors by trade, and this is what they do, and they're mercenaries." But he thought it would be really interesting to have someone as part of that ensemble who really doesn't do this for a living, who really finds themselves in this situation, and is alarmed by the stakes that they're facing, and yet still has to kind of find the strength to kind of step up to the plate and make themselves valuable to the team. So I thought that was kind of an interesting angle in as well, to kind of, rather than just having a kind of ensemble of superheroes, you've got quite a mixed bag of different personalities, and in a way to kind of play maybe an everyman. It's been a real joy working with those guys, with Donnie and Jiang Wen. Um, they they are such kind of established figures and stars in China and around the world as well. I think what they kind of bring to this film is just a lot of experience, and it's been great kind of having that, particularly as we're doing kind of lots of action sequences. Donnie's kind of just an action hero god. So he's been able to bring a lot of his kind of wisdom to things as well. Their characters are this kind of really interesting kind of pairing, where you've got this kind of grumpy bandit played by Jiang Wen, and you've got this kind of very very kind of mindful monk played by Donnie. I think the way in which they see Bodhi is they're not quite sure why he's around, but if Jin thinks we need him around, then he's part of the team. And if you're part of the team, they'll look out for you. I think, as far as Bodhi, I think he kind of looks at particularly Jiang Wen and thinks, yeah, these are the kind of guys that used to bully me. I'm not really sure if we can never be close, but we get thrown together in this situation and we are, we come to rely on each other. It's something we've all grown up with, it's a mythology that we all share. It just kind of belongs to the world, we all grow up in its shadow and in awe of this thing that's been created, and to be asked to kind of enter into it and be a part of it is, I think it is a bit nerve-wracking and humbling and very exciting. So yeah, it hasn't worn off. The novelty of being in a Star Wars film hasn't worn off. And hopefully it never does. She's just an incredibly focused actor. I just find her to be quite uncompromising in trying to find the best possible version of the scene, and just very open to ideas as well. Just very open to kind of making suggestions and taking suggestions, and so it's a kind of very open, kind of very open atmosphere that I think she helps to create, which is great. I think, I think people do their best work when they're feeling relaxed, when they feel able to speak up and try things. The empire is obviously massive. And within that, you're going to have certain high-ranking officials who really believe in the ideology of the empire, let's say. And we're also going to have, I don't know, the guy that cleans the toilets, or the guy that, drives the cargo ship, and the mechanics, who are people who are just literally, it's their job, and this is the world and this is the galaxy they live in, and they're trying to just get by. And I think Bodhi is kind of one of those people who feels that even though he may not agree with some of the actions of the empire, he can't change the direction in which things are heading. He's just one person, and he wants to be a pilot. He enjoys flying ships and shuttles. So he's kind of just, I think, through a mixture of apathy and helplessness, he isn't engaging with the rebellion. He's just going along with things.